How's it going, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and nerds everywhere? Welcome back to Nerd Explosion, the weekly podcast where, based on a monthly theme, we nerd out about whatever we want. I'm Cameron.
I'm Kate.
And bah humbug is all I have to say. Bah humbug.
You fucking Scrooge.
Which ties into our topic for today's episode. Yay!
It does, but you are really genuinely a Scrooge.
Hey, listen. Just because I have a job where I have to plow snow. Wait, let me rephrase that. I plow snow for a living and deal with all the stuff that goes on with winter, all the cold and everything. I have a right to bitch.
You do.
But anyway, like I said, the bah humbug thing, and Kate called me a Scrooge, ties into today's episode because I have the idea of doing a tier list of, well, first of all, Kate is going to take a loud sip of her drink. Enjoy that, Asmir sweater. Anyway, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Today, we're going to do a tier list of different Christmas Carol adaptations. Now, for context, actually, I'll go over it once when we start the episode, but there have been a lot of Christmas Carol adaptations, and just to keep things kind of simple, I narrowed it down to like 8 that I know of, or me and Kate have seen, just 8 of them that I personally know. So before we get into that, new episode of this podcast come out every Saturday, so do all the things and all the stuff linked in the description. But with that, let's get our bah humbugs in a row and talk about and rank some Christmas Carol adaptations. Alright, so before we get into this tier list, we should I should go over what Christmas Carol is for those people who have been, I don't know, living
for all
under a
you
box.
plebes who don't know anything about Charles Dickens.
A Christmas Carol, in prose, being a ghost story of Christmas, commonly known as A Christmas Carol, is a novella by Charles Dickens, first published in London by Chapman and Hall in 1843 and illustrated by John Leech. It recounts the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, an elderly miser who is visited by the ghost of his former business partner, Jacob Marley, and the spirits of Christmas past, present, and yet to come, or future if you're not a dick about it. In the process, Scrooge is transformed into a kinder, gentler man. So, everybody should basically know what the story of Christmas Carol is, right? Scrooge is kind of a dick to everybody, and his old partner, his dead partner, Jacob Marley, is like, you're going to be visited by 3 spirits. If you don't change your ways, things are only going to get worse.
Jacob Marley, who appears in chains, forced to walk the earthly realm.
And then Scrooge is visited by the ghost of Christmas present, which shows him stuff from his past and kind of explains.
Is a present, kiss my ass.
Kind of explains, some of the stuff that, like, as Scrooge was growing up, like how he kind of became to be, and some certain things that went wrong. Ghost of Christmas Present that shows him like what his immediate actions are doing to the public and everything, and just gives them different glimpses of people's lives. And then Ghost of Christmas Future basically shows that everybody is benefiting off of his death, and that people don't really care that he died. And he's like, oh, I'll change my ways. And then he wakes up. He's all of a sudden has a personality switch and starts being a lot more generous and a lot more kind to everybody. And, Merry Christmas, one and all.
You there, young boy. What day is it? What day is it? Why, it's Christmas Day, sir.
Tiny Tim.
It wasn't Tiny Tim.
Wasn't that Tiny Tim?
No, it was just some random kid in the street.
No, I feel like Tiny Tim is part of this story, though.
Tiny Tim is part of this. So the guy that works for Scrooge...
Bob Cratchit.
Yeah, Bob Cratchit. Tiny Tim is... It's Tim Cratchit.
Yeah. God bless us, everyone. Now I'm just thinking of the Dame Grumps joke. The Dame Grumps joke. God, I can't speak English today. Where it's like a Tiny Tim type of character, just on
Chimney Sweet Tom.
Yeah, Chimney Sweet Tom. It's true, read all about it. Aaron sold herself video games.
Please don't steal the newspapers, I can't chase after you.
And then somebody knocks him over. Ah! Why did this thing happen to me? But anyway, let's get into these adaptations. These are not in any specific order. I just kind of copied and pasted them as I found them. So the first one I have on here is Scrooge from 1970. It was directed by Ronald Niami, and it starred God, I can't speak today. Albert Finney as Ebenezer Scrooge. The rest of the cast includes Edith Evans, Kenneth Moore, Lawrence Naismith, Michael Medwin, David Collins, Anton Roger, and Suzanne Nave. And also, a name I didn't mention because I wanted to keep it for last, a name you might recognize, Alec Guinness.
Oh, I love Alec Guinness.
AKA, for those who don't know, the original Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Ben Kenobi? Put some respect on his name.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's a name I've not heard since before you were born.
You know him?
Of course I know him.
He's me.
You fucking idiot. But yeah, Alec Guinness is in this one, and he plays Jacob Marley. And I mean, to kind of be fair to this one, I would kind of put it at C. Because it's the first one I saw, but it's not like the best Christmas Carol adaptation I've seen.
Sure.
But it's the first one I've seen, so I'm willing to put it at a good C. Apparently Albert Finney did win a Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Musical/Comedy in 1971, and the film received 4 Academy Award nominations, including for Best Original Song for the song Thank You Very Much. So yeah, Scrooge I'm willing to put at a C. Just, good solid place for it. It's not great, it's not bad either. I mean, it's from 1970, so we got room for improvement.
It's a good starting point anyway.
The next adaptation I have on here is Scrooged from 1988. It is a 1988 American Christmas fantasy black comedy film directed by Richard Donner and written by Mitch Glazer and Michael O'Donoghue, based on the 1843 novella Christmas Carol, blah, 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 blah. Scrooge is a modern retelling that follows Bill Murray as Frank Cross, a cynical and selfish TV executive who is visited by a succession of ghosts on Christmas Eve, intent on helping him regain his Christmas spirit. The film also stars Karen Allen, John Forsythe, John Glover, Bobcat Goldthwait, Carol Kane, Robert Mitchum, Michael J. Pollard, and Alfre Woodard. So yeah, this is kind of obviously it is the Christmas Carol story, but it's kind of a
modern retelling. Yeah,
as of 1988, a modern retelling of that, but instead of Ebenezer Scrooge, we have Frank Cross. Mm-hmm. And I honestly really like this one. I mean, this is the time where I was a time in my life. Obviously, I watched this way later down the line because I was obviously not born in 1988 or like a teenager during the 80s. But I watched this later in life, and this was around the time I started discovering like older like 80s comedy movies. Most of them starring Bill Murray, like Ghostbusters, Caddyshack.
Oh, God, I love Caddyshack.
And then around Christmas, this just popped up. So I'm like, oh, I'll watch this. And, this one, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed, but it's not, again, it's really not one of my favorites. I would definitely put it at maybe a C or something. Like high C, like low B. Because, I mean, a lot of the stuff in this movie is just really dated.
Well, it came out in the 80s.
Let's see. Murray returned to acting for the film after taking a 4-year hiatus following the success of Ghostbusters, which he found overwhelming, although he had a minor role in Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Actually, it would be fair to put this at a B because I'm looking at the critical response, And audiences on Cinema Store gave the film an average grade of B+ on a A+ to F scale. So, I mean, if audiences are willing to put it at a B, me personally, thinking about the movie, I'm willing to put it at a B because I definitely enjoy it more than the 1970 Christmas Carol movie.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I've always been kind of a fan of Bill Murray.
Yeah.
At least from an acting standpoint. So, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Did you see Scrooge at all?
Years ago.
I was like, or are you just agreeing with me because you're just like, yep, whatever you say, honey.
Hey, whatever you say, I'm not really listening. No, I'm just kidding. I have seen it, but it was, like I said, fucking years ago. I remember enjoying it, but I think where you put it is probably fair, like a low B.
Yeah,
C.
like a low B, just because, I mean, it's, like I said, better than the 1971, that's for sure. And that's not by much, because, I mean, it's the first one that I remember seeing that did something different. That did a more modern retelling of the story and changed some characters around, you know?
Right.
But it still kept that, like, that same story style to it, like that same structure.
Like the main guy's an asshole, he's visited by three spirits.
The main guy's an asshole to everybody
friend.
he knows, and he gets visited by spirits that change his personality. But yeah, I'm willing to put it at a B. Next one I got on here, The Muppet Christmas Carol from 1992, directed by Brian Henson, and it stars Michael Caine, Dave Goelz, Steve Whitmer, Jerry Nelson, and Frank Oz. And this is basically, I mean, all I can really say about it is that it's the Christmas Carol story, but with the Muppets. Michael Caine is Scrooge.
Muppets.
Michael Caine is Scrooge. Stephen McIntosh is Fred, who is Scrooge's nephew. Meredith Braun is Belle, Scrooge's former love interest. And Robin Weaver is Clara, Ebenezer Scrooge's niece-in-law and Fred's wife. But now, let's get on to which Muppet characters were which characters. Gonzo was the narrator, or Charles Dickens in this case. Waldorf was Jacob Marley, or Robert Marley, I should say. Dr. Bunsen Honeydew was a charity collector. Zoot was a fuzzy-wig party entertainer. Let me do more well-known ones. Rizzo the Rat was the co-narrator, because obviously they had Gonzo and Rizzo together all the time.
Well, yeah. They're a package deal.
Kermit the Frog was Bob Cratchit. Mr. Scrooge, sir, I would like to go home.
Was Miss Piggy his wife? God, I love Miss Piggy.
Mr. Scrooge, sir, I would like to take the day off tomorrow because it's Christmas and I would like to spend it with my family. God bless us, everyone. Yay!
Any chance to bust out your Kermit impression, huh?
I love doing my Kermit impression. You kidding me? Sounds like you're just being a bitch.
Okay.
Beecher was the other charity collector. Miss Piggy, Emily Cratchit. Fozzie Bear was Mr. Fozziewig. Oh, actually, I think in the story, the place that Scrooge used to work for was called Fizzywigs. But obviously in this, they had to change it to Fozziwigs because of Fozzie the Bear.
Fozzie the Bear?
I can't even think of a quote from the movie, but I can picture Fozzie just like something like waka waka. Anyway.
Oh my god.
Robin the Frog was Tiny Tim.
That makes sense.
I forgot they made a son for Kermit named Robin.
Although I want to know how a pig and a frog created a frog, but
let's just say they got crazy one night and Miss Piggy had a frog in her throat.
So I think that's where we'll call it an episode for the week. Thank you for joining us as always.
Oh yeah, Frackle. There's some like random other characters. No, Statler in this. was Jacob Marley. So Waldorf was Robert Marley and Statler was Jacob Marley. For those of you who don't know, Waldorf and Statler were the two old men that would sit in the balcony for shows.
The Peanut Gallery?
Like the joke I made earlier with Kate, be like, tonight you'll be haunted by 3 spirits. Last time I was haunted by 3 spirits, they were all my ex-wives. But looking at this, just random other characters. One of them is, like, in background characters, is Fractal. I don't know if Fractal was part of, like, the Muppets, or it was just, like, a character from, like, Jim Henson lore.
Yeah, I think he's just one of Jim Henson's creatures. I don't remember him ever being, like, officially a Muppet.
Because there was, like, the Muppets, and then there was, like, other stuff he did, like Fraggle Rock, Dark Crystal. I think he did puppets, too, for Labyrinth.
Yeah, it's kind of like every rectangle is a square, but not every square is a rectangle.
Sure.
Like, they're all Muppets, but they're not all Muppets are
there's
the Muppets.
There's Muppets, like the actual like creatures themselves, which also include, I guess, Sesame Street, because they're a part of the same like puppet company. But then there's the Muppets, which is like your Kermit the Frog, your Fozzie Bear, your Miss Piggy, and all that. Excuse me. But I'm looking through these, and there's not really a whole lot other recognizable names for Muppets. But apparently, on Rotten Tomatoes, this film had an approval rating of 77% overall. So given an average rating of 7 out of 10.
Ooh, that ain't bad.
And one thing I learned, that apparently every like release of Muppet Christmas Carol has excluded a song that is a crucial song to the plot of the movie.
Oh yeah.
And I did see a thing that the version they have on Disney Plus, like you have to go into the special features, and in the special features, it has a version of the movie with that song included. So you go to Muppet Christmas Carol on Disney Plus, you go into the special features, and they have like the whole movie you can watch from there with that included song.
Interesting.
I forget what the song's name is, but apparently it's a really important song to the overall plot. But this one, I'm willing to put it A, just because, A, bless you.
Oh, thank you.
B, it has Michael Caine as Scrooge, and I love Michael Caine. And C, I just love the fact that my Christmas Carol story has Kermit the Frog in it. It seems that Scrooge has learned the spirit of Christmas. God bless us, everyone.
Oh my God.
I don't know what you think. I'm willing to put this on an A.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't go wrong with the Muppets.
I mean, you really can't. I think this was around the time, like this year, they did a bunch of different like Muppet movies. Like, do you remember? God, what was the pirate one they did? It was one where they were pirates and they went to this island, and
was that the one with
the main villain was Tim Curry?
Yeah. Hold on, it's gonna bug me.
It's like Treasure Island or something. Muppet Treasure Island.
Muppet.
I think that's what it is. I think it's Muppet Treasure Island. But it's literally
Muppet Treasure Island, 1996.
That came out in 96? Oh, so this was after Muppet Christmas Carol. Okay.
Yeah, Tim Curry was Long John Silver. Jim Hawkins was Kevin Bishop.
Ooh. Oh, here's something about Muppet Christmas Carol that I'm just reading. It grossed a total of $27.3 million in North America.
Jesus.
Despite being a modest box office success, The Muppet Christmas Carol did not have a large effect during its theatrical release, having to face competition from Home Alone 2 Lost in New York and Disney's own Aladdin. But yeah, overall, I'm willing to give it an A because, obviously, Kermit the Frog. I really like Kermit the Frog. He is daddy.
You know what they say? Okay, that's all right.
You were just going to make a good joke, and I just stopped you in your tracks, and you're just like, all right. I see we're coming to a brick wall. Let's just back up, on
his hear
turn
me out
around.
Cake, apparently. No, I was just going to say, you know what they say, it ain't easy being green.
It ain't easy being green. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Anyway, moving on. The next one I have in this list is Spirited from 2022. So 2 years ago. It's a musical comedy film, and it stars Will Ferrell, Ryan Reynolds, Octavia Spencer, Sunita Mani, Patrick Page, Marlo Barkley, and Tracy Morgan. In the film, the ghost of Christmas Present is nearing retirement, which would mean a return to Earth. He sets his sight on an unredeemable man named Clint Briggs, who ends up helping the ghost come to terms with his own past.
F.
I mean, I was already willing to put this low because of Will Ferrell. Like, not even Ryan Reynolds to say this.
I hate Will Ferrell.
So, F. Like, and I kind of saw this movie. Like, I took a glance at it because I was like, with Will Ferrell, I'm like, there's only so much I could stand. And like, my whole thing about Will Ferrell, like, the movies that he's in are okay. I just can't stand him. Like, a lot of times it feels like he tries way too hard to be funny.
Like, I like the concept of Elf. Can't watch the movie.
Like, everything around Will Ferrell is good. It's just him I can't stand.
It's just him who sucks.
Like, Elf, I enjoy Elf as a movie. I enjoyed Elf because it's a Christmas movie. I don't enjoy it not because it's a Will Ferrell movie. You know?
Right.
If that makes any sense.
I like it as a Christmas movie. I don't hate it just because it's a Will Ferrell movie.
But Spirited 2022, I'm willing to put at an F because F for fuck Will Ferrell.
Also, I never saw it.
I don't think you're missing out on much. It's literally just Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds just goofing around for who knows how long.
Oh, yeah. No, thanks.
Next one I have on here, one you might be a little more familiar with. Mickey's Christmas Carol from 1983.
Oh, I love Mickey's Christmas Carol.
This is kind of the same deal as the Muppet Christmas Carol, except this time it's all Disney characters. So,
do you remember last year when we just sat around watching Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas?
Did we watch? Yeah, did we do a whole marathon of that? Like, we did once, and then twice.
Once Upon and Twice
3
Upon
times
a
a lady.
Twice Upon a Christmas. Yeah, I made you sit and watch them with me because they're two of my favorite Christmas movies.
In this one, Scrooge McDuck is Ebenezer.
Obviously.
Is obviously Scrooge. Many other Disney characters, primarily from the Mickey Mouse universe, as well as Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio. Anyway, let's get to the who was what. So, Scrooge McDuck was Scrooge. Mickey was Bob Cratchit. Goofy was the ghost of Jacob Marley. That's another impression I could go into.
Your Goofy impression?
I am Ebenezer Scrooge. You'll be haunted by 3 spirits. Well, fuck you, then. You think this is a yucking game? You think this is a yucking game? Jiminy Cricket is the ghost of Christmas past. Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, that makes sense. Jiminy Cricket was the voice of his Pinocchio's
hi
conscience.
There, Ebenezer. I'm going to show you scenes from your past, and maybe you'll learn.
See all this? This is what made you a fucking raging asshole.
I mean...
just once, I want to hear Jiminy Cricket call somebody a fucking asshole.
I mean, he comes close to doing that in Kingdom Hearts.
That's true.
Because, I mean, we don't give him enough credit. Because, I mean, bringing up Kingdom Hearts again, Jiminy Cricket literally writes down the entirety of everything that happens in his journals.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole thing of Kingdom Hearts Recoded, is that Jiminy Cricket was going to Mickey and be like, oh, this is what happened. Suddenly, all this shit is blank. We gotta figure out why.
Right.
We have Willie the Giant as Ghost of Christmas Present, Pete as Ghost of Christmas Future, Donald Duck is Fred, Scrooge's nephew, Daisy Duck is Belle, or Isabel, obviously, J. Thaddeus Toad was Fezziwig, Minnie Mouse was Emily Cratchit, Millie or Melody Mouse was Martha Cratchit, because I guess they have two different names, Morty and Ferdy Fieldmouse as Peter Cratchit and Tiny Tim, Ratty and Molly were collectors for the poor, Otto as the beggar, and Weasels as gravediggers.
Of course, they made the weasels the gravediggers.
But
that feels racist somehow.
This one I'm also willing to put up at A, and I kind of want to watch it as soon as we're done with this episode, but this one I definitely want to put up at A too, because, I mean, it's Disney. It's Mickey Mouse, in the gang, telling a Christmas Carol story.
You can make fun of me all you want, but Disney never misses with Mickey Mouse.
Well...
I will take no Mickey Mouse slander in this house.
Sorry, not to bring up Kingdom Hearts again, but the fact that,
always bringing it back to Kingdom Hearts.
The fact that Disney's like, oh, Mickey Mouse is our icon, is our mascot. We don't want anything bad to happen. Meanwhile, in Kingdom Hearts, Xemnas literally chokeslams him to a wall.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta chokeslam a bitch.
But yeah, what do you think about it? Where would you put it?
A.
You put it at A?
Oh yeah, I loved A Mickey Mouse Christmas Carol.
Yeah, I'll definitely put it at A too, because like I said, it's like they did it really well. They kept it entertaining, and obviously they kept it faithful to the story while also giving it that like early 80s Disney vibe to it, Alright, next one I have on here, I'm stalling because I have to scroll around, is A Christmas Carol from 2009. This was written for the screen, or produced, written, and directed by Robert Zemeckis. And it stars, well, it's animated, so there's voices. It features the voices of Jim Carrey, Gary Oldman, Colin Firth, Bob Hoskins, Robin Wright Penn, I should say, and Terry Ewells.
So, hot take. This is my all-time, hands down, favorite rendition of A Christmas Carol.
Ooh, I feel like we're about to fight on this.
You didn't like it?
Okay, so here's my thing on this movie.
First of all, it showed off the impressive range that Jim Carrey has.
Hold on. Like, my thing with this movie, obviously, they did the same thing in this movie with Jim Carrey that they did with Tom Hanks doing Polar Express, where they had him motion capture, like, a bunch of different characters.
Oh, I love the Polar Express.
This movie, like, I loved how they told the story. I don't like the creative direction they took with a lot of the animation.
Oh, see, I disagree.
So, like, it was a good movie, but it was one of those, like, late 2000s movies where it was in 3D, but they wanted you to know it was 3D, because they constantly made stuff, like, go way too close to the screen and, like, move around and stuff. And I just don't like that. I don't like, if you're gonna make a 3D movie, just make the movie. Don't, try to be like, whoa, this stuff we're doing in 3D. Like, yeah, we fucking did it.
Oh, see, that didn't bother me at all. But no, first of all, I love
the rest of the movie's great. Sorry, continue. I just had to step off my soapbox.
Anyway, no, I think they did a really good job showing off the acting range that Jim Carrey has, because a lot of the times he's typecast into these like really just extravagantly insane characters, like the Grinch he played kind of was out there. Dr. Eggman is fucking insane.
Probably one of my favorite roles he's done to this day.
Ace Ventura is,
LeHoo. The
Mask. Like, don't get me wrong, all great movies, right? But to watch him play Ebenezer Scrooge, flawless. The depth of character that he was able to bring to the screen.
Yeah, a character that's not like outright comedic.
Yeah, and it was a role that you don't normally see him in that I really just appreciated because it just showed, like I said, that depth of character that not only Jim Carrey has, but that he can bring to any role.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, him playing Scrooge, obviously it had its comedic moments, but it wasn't like his usual characters that are all like, whoa, look at me, whoa.
Well, yeah, and especially when he was with the Ghosts of Christmas Past and he was going through that whole scene with, like, his love interest and all that, and, like, it's a very serious moment of reflection for him to be like, oh, like, something is broken and I don't actually have to be this way. But also to watch him fight against that, too.
And the scene where he's flying over London. And I think it's during the time, either with Christmas Present or the Ghost of Christmas Future, where they're going to the graveyard or whatever. Well, that scene too, I should say.
Yeah.
But like the scene of him, because the one thing that remains constant with a lot of these adaptations is the Ghost of Christmas Future bringing Scrooge to a cemetery and showing him a grave with his name on it, and then him getting pushed into the grave. But, like, in the 1971, he actually falls into hell, and Jacob Marley's like, hey, we have a room for you. And he's like, no, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing that remains constant, is just them
that and that the
falling
ghost
to the grave.
That and that they keep the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come still very shadowed and like a Reaper character.
Yeah, because in most of these, the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come or Christmas Future, if again you're not being a dick, is very like silent and stoic.
Yeah,
for the most part. But this one, I don't know. Where would you put it? Because you obviously have an opinion on it. S tier.
S tier, 100%.
I'm willing to put it at, I'll put it at a high A.
S.
Personally, for me, I put it at a high A. Because it's still good. There's just one or two things nitpicky for me that...
Okay, just because visually you're a fucking hater doesn't mean it doesn't deserve to be in an S tier.
I like how I'm just like, yeah, these things I don't really like well. And Kate's just like, well, fuck you.
You're
fuck
wrong.
Fuck you says the fuck you, man.
You're wrong. Your opinion is bad and you should feel bad.
Could today's get any worser? Fuck you, says the fuck you, man.
I said what the fuck I said. S tier.
You know what? I'm sticking to my guns. I'll put it at A plus.
It's S. You're wrong.
I'll put it at a as like I'll fit it in a little crack between A and S. Will that make you happy?
No, it'll make me happy that you agree with me and it belongs in an S tier.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay.
Next one I got on this list is another thing from 2022. Scrooge, A Christmas Carol. It's described as a musical fantasy comedy drama film. And I think this one was exclusively on Netflix. It's an animated one that came out exclusively on Netflix. Or no, it was in select theaters on November 18th and made its streaming release on Netflix on December 2nd of 2022. The film features the voices of Luke Evans, Olivia Colman, Jesse Buckley, Jonathan Pryce, Johnny Flynn, James Cosmo, and Trevor Dion Nicholas. Now, there's not really a whole lot to go over because, like I said, these are all like the same story, so they all stay pretty much the same. The only things that change are some of the musicals and some of the songs that they decide to throw in for like the musical ones. And this one I specifically really liked because there's a song in it called Later Never Comes that I find really beautiful. I'll play a clip of it if I can find the right moment. measure of security, but she was really all you need. Kept on telling her later never comes around. Please stop telling her later. So this is the part, I believe that's when he's visiting with Christmas, the Ghost of Christmas Present.
Yeah.
And it's basically showing the scene that a lot of these adaptations actually keep in, showing Scrooge, falling for this girl, but then getting so obsessed with his career and like money hungry and stuff that he neglects this woman, and this woman is finally being like, whatever, we're done.
How do you lose a woman? You forget to cherish her.
I forgot about that. But in this one specifically, it's this woman keeps asking Scrooge for stuff, and he keeps saying, later. Like later. He keeps putting it off. And she just gets so fed up with it that she, the day comes where the next time he tells her later is going to be the last time. That's why, the song is called Later Never Comes.
Because she kind of says, I bet, and then dips.
Like that clip I showed you is, obviously present Scrooge looking on this and just being like, you idiot. Like, what are you doing?
You fucked up. You done fucking goofed.
I think for this one, and you know what? To be fair to you, and I know this is just going to make your ego grow bigger, I'm going to put this at A and bump Jim Carrey Christmas Carol to S.
As you fucking should.
Oh my god. I'm willing to put this, you know what? I'll put this at S too. Or actually no, I'll keep it at A. Because literally the songs are just the main thing that drew me into this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these two, it's just like, oh, it's a Christmas Carol story. I know how this story's going to go. But the main factor of it is like, okay, what do you do with it? Or how do you tell the story?
Right.
Because it's either you tell the story as is and do it in a unique way, or you change some things around with it. Mm-hmm. And this is basically Netflix's version of, telling the Christmas Carol story. And they do it really well. Like, Luke Evans in this,
yeah, phenomenal.
Fantastic voice.
100%.
Where would you put it?
I'd probably put it in an A.
Put it in an A?
Yeah.
All right. Put it in an A.
Not my favorite, but definitely up there.
I'll have to rewatch this one. All right. Last one. Excuse me.
Hot.
Last one I have in this list is one we actually just watched the other day.
I was wondering when this was going to come up.
A VHS Christmas Carol, which originally came out in 2021. VHS Christmas Carol is a 1980s musical style adaptation by Star Kid Productions. So if you remember, we did an episode, a few months ago, where I was, we were talking about Star Kid stuff.
Yep.
They did this, A Christmas Carol musical, in 2021 with music by Clark Bechtresser, originally streamed as a pandemic-era online musical with a free live performance recording released on YouTube in 2021. Revised in 2023 to become VHS Christmas Carols, featuring a first act adapting The Gift of the Magi and The Little Match Girl, incorporating positive twists on both stories thanks to Scrooge's newfound generosity into Christmas Carol's epilogue. So they adapted Gift of the Magi and Little Match Girl into the first act of this, and then obviously Scrooge's story was Act 2.
Yeah.
And then they all just kind of culminate together, and the first two stories have a positive outcome because of Scrooge's change of heart.
Yes.
Alright, so going over the cast for the original version, the only version you can see on YouTube now, because they did have a version, just like the description I read off said, that they redid it recently, because they did some more performances recently. Like, there was one, I think they just did a couple shows in Chicago for it, but they had the revised version, the Christmas Carols, They had that up on YouTube for a little while. They just took it down recently because it was obviously limited time only. But the original version that you can see, the one that's still up on YouTube, the cast for that, we have Dylan Saunders as Scrooge, which phenomenal, I should say. He played a really good Scrooge. And I really like his voice on stuff. Like him, like he really shines in whatever Star Kid performances he does. Like he was, way back in the day, he did the Potter musicals. He was Jafar in Twisted. He had a role as what's his name in Black Friday?
Oh,
Tom.
Yeah,
Tom. He was Tom in Black Friday, and then obviously in this is Scrooge. He did a really good Scrooge, I would say.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And then we have Corey Doris as Fred, another one of my favorite Star Kid members.
Mm-hmm.
We have Joey Richter as Bob Cratchit.
I love Joey Richter.
The best Star Kid boy. Meredith Stephen as Jacob Marley and Spouse 2.
Spouse 2.
We have Jamie Lynn Beatty as the Ghost of Christmas Past. I'm the ghost of Christmas Past. We have Brian Rosenthal as Young Scrooge, Peter Cratchit, Businessman 2, and Scavenger 2. Brittany Coleman as Belle. AJ Holmes as Fezziwig, Donation Man 1, Party Guest, Businessman 1, and Scavenger 1. James Tolbert as the Ghost of Christmas Present. I will say that was probably my favorite part of the whole
Christmas
thing.
Electricity?
Yeah, Christmas Electricity, that whole song. Christmas Electricity, Christmas Electricity.
Yeah. It was kind of a bop for how simple it was.
It is very much a bop. We have Lauren Lopez as Emily Cratchit, Donation Man 2, and Goth Party Girl.
Goth Party Girl.
Lauren Lopez is another one of those really one of my favorite Star Kid people, and I love that they put Joey Richter and Lauren Lopez together as Bob and Emily Cratchit, because in real life they're actually married.
No.
Jamie Burns as Ghost of Christmas Future and Belinda Cratchit. Jamie Burns, now her version of Ghost of Christmas Future I really love, because in that they kept the kind of like silent, stoic Ghost of Christmas Future thing. And the whole, so I should mention too that there's no spoken dialogue in this whole show. Like it's all like, it's Hamilton style basically. Like the whole thing is musical. So when they get to the part of Ghost of Christmas Future, a lot of it is Scrooge narrating the events of what he's seen and what the ghost is showing him. And the main thing that the ghost does is just that transitionary, like spooky vibe. Like Scrooge will, narrate something, and then the Ghost of Christmas Future just.
Yeah, I like that she didn't have any actual spoken dialogue.
Well, she did towards the end of the song, and it fits so well. Like when she brings Scrooge to the cemetery, and he narrates that that the ghost is pointing at a grave, and then she starts singing Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, spooky vibes. I like it. Next we got, or going more down this list, we have Ellie Gordon as Turkey Boy, Scrooge's sister, Martha Cratchit, Businessman 3, and Scavenger 3, Brian Holden as Tiny Tim and Spouse 1, and then Clark Baxtresser as the narrator. Brian Holden as Tiny Tim I really loved.
Yeah.
Because obviously he was singing while doing like a Tiny Tim voice. And his Tiny Tim voice was like, "Hey Dad, try some pudding."
I liked at the end of the one
song. The end
song.
of Priceless?
Yeah, he's like, I don't feel so good.
So Priceless is this very sweet song, and it's got some comedic moments in it, but it's one of those ones that make you like, be like, "Aw," because it's Bob Cratchit, and his whole family singing about. So at this point, the song Priceless is basically Bob Cratchit, his wife, and his family singing about how they don't have a lot, but they're still thankful for everything they have. And basically they have their own version of Christmas electricity because they're a loving family. And they're just like, priceless, priceless, priceless. And they're all huddled together. And just as it's fading out, Brian Holden as Tiny Tim is just like, I don't feel so good.
Because it was like a really beautiful song, and it was like, they realized that all they really need is each other, and blah, blah, blah. And at the end, he's just like, yeah, I don't feel good.
But anyway, with VHS Christmas Carol, where would you put this? Because I don't know if when I showed you it, if that was your first time, or if I showed you it before, and I just can't remember.
No, it was the first time I had seen it. Say like a B.
You put it at a B?
Yeah.
I honestly would put it at like a, not like a high A, but I'd definitely put it at an A because I definitely enjoyed it. Well, I put it at a high B.
Yeah, I like a high B
because it's like, it's really good, and me as a fan of like Star Kid stuff, obviously, and it's it's basically, if you like Christmas Carol, but you also like Hamilton, it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
And everybody's performances as all the different characters are just phenomenal.
Yes.
And it also has the classic Star Kid thing of certain actors playing multiple characters.
Yeah.
And I think with this one, it was especially special because there were some older Star Kid members that came back for this. Like ones that haven't been in a show in a while.
Oh, that's cool.
Like I think Brian Holden is actually one of them. Because watching it, you see everybody, come out and do their bow or whatever. And when Brian Holden comes out and does his bow, you can hear a bunch of people being like, he's back.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering what that was about.
Yeah, because Brian Holden did a lot of Star Kid stuff way back in the day, too.
Back in the day?
One of the OG members. But yeah, you'd say high B? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's our tier list for Christmas carols.
Okay, one of my houses in my little Christmas village, the light just flickered, and that scared the shit out of me.
It's the ghost of Jacob Marley.
Well,
we're about to be visited by 3 spirits.
Sick.
Including the one on the TV right now.
Take me with you. No, but because like those bulbs are really hard to find, and I already have to replace the bulb in the church, and I didn't want to have to replace the one in the house either.
You guys enjoying this?
Anyway.
Talking about lighting problems on Christmas decorations none of you can see.
I'll have Cameron take a picture and post it on his Instagram.
Okay, I guess I will. But yeah.
I mean, I'll post it on mine too, I guess, but...
That's our tier list for Christmas carols. You may ask yourself, what does any of it mean? Let me tell you, not a goddamn thing. This tier list is meaningless.
I love Christmas.
It's the Who's line of tier lists. Everything's made up and the points don't matter.
I was just gonna say that.
But, whatever Christmas Carol adaptation you enjoy, just enjoy it. Like, Christmas Carol is probably one of my favorite Christmas stories in general, besides like Polar Express.
God, I love the Polar Express.
And I can't think of any other like Christmas stories other than maybe The Grinch, if that counts.
We should do a ranking of the Grinch movies too.
I think we did that already.
Did we?
We could do it again, but I feel like we did that last year. Or like a couple years ago. I don't know. I'll look. But anyway, yeah, just, go out and watch Christmas Carol and get into the holiday spirit, you bunch of Grinches.
Oh, like you have any room to talk, Mr. Bob.
Anyway, we do this every Saturday, so be sure to check the socials, drink your water, stay warm out there because it's fucking cold here.
It's a whole 1 degree right now. I've been Kate.
And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Nerds out.